I'm your host, Coach Adam. I'm here with Coach Damon today and Coach Terra. We're going to be talking about our body mapping phase here at Legacy. That is basically the first 2 weeks that you start up with us, kind of like your onboarding first couple of weeks, how we ease you into workouts, programming, strategy, kind of stuff like that. But before that, as always, our member of the week this week is Mr. Chase Fairfield.
Let's go, Beast.
Chase, partially chose Chase, honestly, because I thought he was, pretty good example of how to go through a body mapping phase and optimize it, maximize it, pretty well, excuse me. And yeah, he's kind of got that 4% mentality. And for those who don't know, 4% is 1 hour workout in your 24-hour day. So we've seen him from he's been at 8 a couple times, maybe the earliest, 8 or 9.
8 a.m.,
8 a.m.,
11 a.m., 10 a.m.
all over. I've seen him as late as 5 p.m. So he's all over the map, but he finds a way to get it done, get it in. You guys get anything else on Chase? He's
pretty great guy to work with.
Yeah, he's fun to work with. Kind of came in. He had some training experience, but was one of those where it was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's actually a good mover. Like he's got no problems moving or anything like that. But he's just kind of a sponge, open book, and that's why he's fun to train. So nice job, Chase, keeping it up, and that'll lead right into our opening here. So questions that we get a lot of times. So when you sign on to be a member here at Legacy, you have your consultation, set it up with Jolie, and then Jolie gets you going, whenever you want to start. And essentially from that start day for the next 2 weeks following that, you are in a body mapping phase. So what happens is the gym is universally we're in a phase, right? Right now, for example, we just started hypertrophy. So the entire gym is in hypertrophy. It's just a matter of kind of where you fall on a day-to-day scale in the workouts, on what your workouts are going to look like. But the body mapping people are on basically a completely different schedule, regardless of where we are at. So when we're looking at the body mapping phase, we get a lot of questions from people about how why they're not just jumping into a program. Like if they have a little bit of experience, body mapping is going to be very base, very simple. It's essentially a movement assessment that takes over for 2 weeks. Get a lot of things like, why am I using kettlebells and dumbbells? I've done barbell this, barbell that before. We're going to get a little bit into what exactly we're looking at when we're kind of assessing person to person, and how we move through it strategically, so it'll come back on the other end with a program ready to go. So to sum it up, body mapping phase separates random training from intentional results and provides a clear and structured plan for executing workouts to their max efficiency moving forward. That is, of course, when you join the gym in our universal phase, whatever it might be. So why don't we go ahead and break down kind of what we are. Let's just go, what is the body mapping phase? What do those first 2 weeks look like? What separates week 1 and week 2? And then what we as coaches are looking at to kind of progress people. So one of you guys want to take that away?
Yeah, I mean, the first 2 weeks of the body mapping phase is just to go over the basic movements of how you go through a squat, a hinge, a press, or a pull, some simple movements like that, as well as to be able to see how you can control the weight, how well you can have that keep that symmetry through good range of motion. And for example, let's just say if we're working on a press or a horizontal press, some people might see a push-up and they go, I do push-ups all the time. Why am I doing this? Well, you know that you can do a push-up, but we don't. So you have to basically prove it to us that you can. And if you can, great, that's awesome, because not everybody's built the same. There are some people in this world that are not going to be able to, and that's our job, to be able to understand simple things as just like a push-up. And it's just a good way to be able to slow things down for people that are like that, so that way they can even assess themselves and be able to understand what is it that they truly need to work on once they get through those 2 weeks.
Yeah. So I think during that first week, basically you're going to see like a 3 sets of 10 kind of scheme, just enough reps where we can see enough repetitions of you doing something, but nothing crazy where it's going to, make you tired, not want to come back the next day, all the things. And then that's all of week 1. And then week 2, we try to bump volume and workload a little bit. So we usually add in an extra set and go up to 4 sets, just to see how like the conditioning kind of takes over. Because we've seen you move now for a week. Let's continue to focus on that, but now see if you can take a little bit more of a workload. When we as coaches are looking at specific movement patterns like you were talking about, Damon, we're looking at pretty much range of motion, symmetry of a movement, so equal sides. We have a new screening technology that also looks at that. We can get into that later. If there are compensations, a lot of times there are shifts one way or the other, hip shifts, knee movement, things like that. Overall movement quality, just does this look like what a squat should look like? Is it choppy? Is it smooth? And then just honestly, common sense test. Like, does it look like this person could take on something slightly more challenging or not? So we kind of go off of those 5 pillars to determine, we have a movement matrix that we slide people up progressions and regressions on, and those are really the criteria that we look at when we're trying to move people around. So a lot of people think it's like a slowing down process when we're, if you've been doing a dumbbell goblet squat for both weeks of your body mapping phase, it doesn't mean you're never going to run into a barbell squat. It's just we're addressing, one of these key points, one of these range of motion, symmetry, whatever it might be. So it actually helps us streamline whatever the issue is, and then we can kind of attack that moving forward. So let's talk about why it matters, Terra.
The biggest thing, like Damon said, we need to see how you move. That gives us a key point, a key understanding of how your body's moving. If you're having those compensations and things like that, our biggest job is to help you incorporate fitness into your life without injury or minimizing that injury risk.
Yep.
And this is key for that. It allows us to see how you're moving, assess those movements. Like you said, okay, we did a goblet squat for 2 weeks. Yes, you were able to do that for the 2 weeks. We did great. Okay, when we jump into the global setup of the rest of the gym, I know you can do that. So we can progress you. I can progress you to that next exercise. But it's just for us to see, help you prevent those injuries. Again, also helping you to stay consistent.
Yeah.
A big key everyone wants to see, I can do that. But how many times can you do it? Can you repeatedly do it over and over and over?
Yep.
That is where that injury risk comes into play. If you did it once and then you want to go up or change the variation yet you weren't ready for, because you weren't able to repeat that movement consistently, now we're looking at a possible injury.
Right.
So we're helping to prevent that. Also, are you efficient with your movement? You mentioned choppy squats.
Yeah.
Is it a fluid one motion, or are we doing it in steps?
Right. Your definition of a squat might be a little bit different than our definition of a squat. Can you, go down and come back up? Yeah, probably. But are there things that we need to look at, make sure your knees aren't dying with every rep and things like that? Yeah, that's the efficiency part.
And also, too, can you handle the volume? When you do get out of the phase, imagine if you go into endurance.
20 squats. Yep.
From 10. Big jump.
Big jump, double.
Another thing, a foundation. Everything starts with the foundation. Don't want to build a house in sand. Does not work. It will sink.
Yep.
So we want a solid foundation. The body mapping phase helps us build that foundation. Seeing where you're at, where do we start? Once we start there, we get the consistency. We get the efficiency. Now we can start building on that, progressing, whether that's an increase in volume, increase in load, changing the variation of the exercise. So that's what the body mapping does for us.
Yep. G'd up from the feet up. So, sorry, I had to drop that in there.
Sorry, it doesn't make you a bad person.
So what exactly is getting assessed? So, I mean, we'll just break it down real quick. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 core movement patterns that we need to get you through basically in a 2-week span. It's usually in a 1-week span with total body workouts. But that is a squat, a hinge, a split squat, a bent leg hinge, which is, like your hip thrusts, overhead push and pull, and then horizontal push and pull. So the body mapping phase is going to introduce you to all of those movement patterns once, if not twice, in that span. And then this is where it helps with our Semi-Private Pro app. We try to get people to track things if they're already using external loads and not just doing body weight exercises. It really helps when someone is able to track something in week 1, say they're doing a goblet squat or something like that. They enter a weight, say they were using 30 pounds. There's like a light bulb that goes off when they come to week 2. They see the goblet squat is there again, and they can reference that they did 30 pounds last week. That could be their first kind of, first run in with an opportunity for progressive overload, right? If they're feeling a little bit better, more conditioned than the first week. So always helpful to track, or of course we could have decided to progress them to the next step along the matrix, right? So like a dumbbell goblet squat, naturally the next thing would be like a 2 kettlebell front rack, because now we're going to challenge the core a little bit more. We know your lower body can do the squat and all of that. So super important to stay on top of all of that. As far as feeling, because some people are brand new to the gym, right? So they don't know, exercise at all really. Where should I be feeling this, that, and the other? So trying to also make connections between, overactive muscles. If you're using your traps too much on an overhead push or pull, like we need you to understand where you should be feeling it, where you shouldn't be feeling it on some things. So we're always here it's a very educational first couple of weeks, because we're here to answer the whys. Like we get a lot of, not pushback, but we'll get challenged by some people asking like why they're doing this instead of that. We are prepared basically to have an answer for all of those possible questions, because everything has a meaning, or everything has a purpose or a goal that we're trying to work towards that you might not necessarily, be aware of, right? It could be something like something that's happening at your knee joint, something that's happening at your ankles, something that is just not something that you would catch on your own, right? So we're always prepared to answer those questions for you and help you through that. Another thing, balance and coordination is big for a lot of people here, because our average age here at Legacy is 54 years old of our members. So, not old people, but
damn,
understand that aging takes place, right? And with aging, our balance and coordination things get challenged more and more. So we've had people, say, oh, the weight's not the problem, but if you try to get me to stand on one leg for 30 seconds, like I can't do it, right? So it's a combination of trying to blend strength, coordination, balance, all these things, stability together. And again, the body mapping phase just kind of gives you an opportunity to see all of them work together. So, how about we talk about how we apply it here at Legacy? We just got, or not just got, but a little while back, a company called Kinotech. We do movement screenings now also in your first 2 weeks here during the body mapping phase. So, of course, we as coaches are seeing you work out and, go through all the movements and everything, but we also try to do a couple of different movement screenings on you. The idea behind this is we try to catch you while you're cold, right, before a warm up. So, your joints and stuff don't have the opportunity to be quote unquote like loose or warmed up yet. But we can do it right from our tablets that are at your rack at your station. So we do overhead squat. So that's like arms up overhead, and these are all like single repetition tests, pretty quick, get a lot of information from it. So we do, what did I just say? Overhead squat. Second one was a shoulder abduction.
Correct.
Shoulder abduction. So kind of try to hit the 2 or 3 tests that are going to give us the most information in a single repetition. So we've started to integrate that a lot and kind of connect that to the Semi-Private Pro training app as well, to kind of help with some joint angle stuff that, we're not walking around with protractors out here. So, looking for asymmetries and things like that might be beyond our eye in some cases. So that's a cool new thing that we've tried to integrate also during our body mapping phase that'll help you come out better on the other end. So, common mistakes that people make. Let's not even talk about legacy right now, but why is it a good idea? Like, someone walks into the gym, haven't done any kind of, assessment, maybe with a coach or even a self-assessment, things like that. Why is that, like, why would that be a problem for somebody?
They don't know what they can do. They saw
Yep.
the cool video on
There you go.
Instagram, and they're like, oh, I'm going to try that. And you're like, yeah, no.
Yep.
Or they'll see like the Diamond Gym where it's just like they're going till they're just absolutely destroying themselves, 100+ reps, and go fight through the pain. Okay, cool if you want to have a mental battle with yourself and also a back injury on top of that.
Yeah.
But go for it, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just simple things like that. It's just common mistakes that people see, and they get influenced or too motivated, or they just fall off the wagon too hard. Those are usually.
I think that's like the social media stuff, of course,
Not ready for
is a
it.
big issue. Yeah, like you see something that think looks cool, whatever. Maybe these people are shredded, maybe they're not. But you have no idea. You don't know where you fall on the spectrum, right? So there has to be. You have to do like either a self-assessment, find tools that you can test yourself or something like that if you're going to do this on your own. But copying things that you see on social media, there's too much variance, right? Like training age is its own thing. Then that's what like the body mapping phase is built to take on, like variable training age, right? You could be completely, totally experienced and you're just looking for structure and like a program that obviously we're going to provide for you, or it could be your second day ever walking into a gym. It has the flexibility to assess you accordingly because there's just people fall on such a wide spectrum when it comes to just ability overall. Yeah. Okay, so basically it's going to feel slow at first, the body mapping phase, and we get questions on this, like kind of trying to expedite, but it's going to pay off because just like fitness is and exercise, it's going to be a journey. So there really shouldn't be, there shouldn't be like an end. A lot of people like to say, I'm going to hit this number and then I'm good.
What happens after that?
What do you mean you're good? Like, are you just, you're never going to work out again? Like what exactly do you mean by that? So there's no reason to rush this assessment period because it's just going to help you be more efficient. And then you'll better understand your body, right? Because we're going to give you things that are going to address if you had any issues or something like that along the way, and you can just kind of indefinitely work on it and then progress that way as well. So a lot of aha moments, not realizing that people can move a certain way is a lot of things that we get during body map because, you go to a regular gym, you're probably not going through all the movement patterns that we have. So there's a lot of things that you run into that you either didn't know existed as exercises, didn't know you could perform. So there's a wide range of reactions. It's like, oh, wow, like I impressed myself crazy, or wow, I didn't know I could do that. Yeah, it's like it's completely varying. So basically takeaway is body map is like step one, right? Once we'll get you through that 2 weeks, bear with us. Let us know if you want to be pushed or challenged a little bit more. We can do it in the parameters of body mapping, right? Because we can always load things up, can always challenge you. But basically, trust the placement where we try to put you. There's a reason for everything. And that's how we basically turn your program into a individualized, specified for you kind of thing. So the more you work with us in those first couple of weeks, the more it's going to optimize your time in your workouts. Got anything else you want to add?
Nope.
No.
All right. Pretty self-explanatory one there. Of course, body mapping is part of our lift life cycle here at Legacy. So looking forward to see you once you get started. We'll get through those 2 weeks together, and then it's off to the races. Talk to you next week.
Thank you so much for listening to the Healthy Living Scottsdale podcast. Do you have a question that you'd like for us to answer live on the podcast? If so, all you need to do is head over to the Apple Podcast app on your iPhone and do 3 simple things. First, leave us a rating and review telling me what you think of the podcast. In that review, ask anything you want related to health, fitness, or nutrition. And if you want a shout out, leave us your Instagram handle or name. That's all you have to do. Then listen to hear your questions answered live on the next Q&A episode.